Welcome to On the Line with Jim Pyne. I'm Jim Pyne. This episode is brought to you by PLS Aviation, private aviation perfectly executed. Now let's get on the line. Today, I wanted to welcome a legendary player from his playing days in Tampa, 16 years as a Buccaneer, an Iron Man when you look at the fact that he full-time started for 14 years straight for one franchise, capped off with a Hall of Fame induction. You got to say, but he's a true Hall of Fame guy. Welcome to On the Line with Jim Pyne, Rondé Barber.
What's up, Jimmy? How are you, man? You
Doing
know
good,
what?
man.
You're lucky that I don't hold your being hokey against me after all these years. It's been 29 years. I still don't hold it against you. I'll do your show whenever you want.
I put the helmet down over
I
there.
saw
I
it.
hit
That's
the
why I
helmet.
said that.
I hit the helmet. Well, it's funny you bring up the obviously Rondé, a Virginia Cavalier, and a lot of my great friends that I played in the league with were Virginia guys. It was a big rivalry on the field. We all, but same similar guys from the same areas a lot of times, but good guys, and always had fun with you. Especially you're a great guy through the years.
Well, I have the distinction of having two parents that graduated from Tech, and that rivalry still goes with my mom. Even though we finally had a year that I could like be proud of, and we finally beat the Hokies, which I think is
That's right.
kind
I
of
know.
years, man.
You got
Um,
was it the Commonwealth Cup? It
yes,
resides up in Charlottesville, right?
finally got it in Charlottesville. So yeah, but I just because we're on other sides of the state doesn't mean we're not buddies. I reflect back a lot on my playing career in Tampa, and there was a good number of Tech guys that came through there. Good number of Virginia guys too, but a good like more Tech guys that came through there. And it's funny how like you said that we that rivalry didn't translate to anything other than friendship once you got away from the rivalry. So, uh,
100%. I played with a lot of Virginia guys. I went up to after Tampa. I went up to Detroit. Ray Roberts, Herman
yep.
Moore, but Tony Covington, all good guys, man. We loved the 1 week a year. Well, we're gonna beat you guys, but everyone they're all cool guys. We all respected each other. So
I
it was.
still have to this day, whether it's football or basketball, a friendly $100 bet with Bruce Arians every
Oh
single
yeah, Coach
every
Bruce. Yeah, good,
single
great
game.
hokey, great. Yeah, he's and I know long history with him. So yeah, great guy, great rivalry. Again, you grew up in Roanoke, right? I mean, you went to high school in Roanoke, right?
At high
Which
school in Roanoke, went to Cave Spring High School, went to Hidden Valley Junior High, and then went to Cave Spring High School. Now if you talk about it now, there's actually a Hidden Valley High School. But no, all of us went to the same county high school in Roanoke, and it was, I mean, small town, but felt huge until you get out of there and you're like, okay, it's not so big of a town, but great place to grow up, man. It's where I don't want to say I cut my chops there because Tiki and I pretty much dominated sports there, but it gave us our stepping stone into college at Virginia, and then from there on. But I try to like give a lot of credit to Roanoke, and mostly because it was so small. It kept me humble and hungry for a lot of years. Just having that small town feel and remembering the people that helped get me to where I was. I never got outside of I guess if you could say my britches, would you say, of like trying to feel like I was big time. I never felt big time because I was from such a small hometown. And I know that Tiki and I, we talk about it pretty often. That humble upbringing and having a single parent, and but also having a bunch of friends that kind of were looking up to us through all those years helped us get to where we were. So I give a lot of credit to Roanoke, man. It's a great town.
yeah, it's
What
awesome.
do we call it? The Big Lick, Star City of the South. That's what we
That's
are, man.
right. Well, and a lot of people don't know Roanoke is. I know Roanoke because I went to Virginia Tech. I grew up in Massachusetts, and the place you'd have to fly into is Roanoke to get to Blacksburg.
That's
So
right.
here's a question for you: who was recruiting you guys from Virginia Tech? What coach? Who had you guys? Because I don't think you did a good job.
You know
Maybe you
what,
didn't have a chance either, though.
Jim?
Who,
This is funny. This is a funny question because if it was a really big push, I remember who it is. I don't remember who it is. I have
okay,
no idea. Like I don't
so
know if it
they
was.
didn't recruit you well enough, then
Of
hard
course
enough.
they recruited us. I just don't remember who it was. So it must not have been like a full blown push, or maybe there was a sense that because my dad played there and the proximity, like you said, to Roanoke, and a lot of my friends and high school friends went to Virginia Tech, that maybe it was foregone that we were considering it. But I mean, if I'm being blunt and honest, we never even thought about it. We were going to
Yeah.
Virginia the whole way, and
Sure.
mostly,
Sure.
yeah, mostly there was two reasons. Obviously, the football team and George Welsh was legendary at that time,
Mhm.
and when I went to school, probably not as much so when you went to school, but when I went to school, Virginia was by far the better program. And then during my years is when Tech and Beamer ball started to rise up. But also, my brother was Tiki was valedictorian of our high school, and there was just this sense that Virginia was a better fit for him because of the academics. Um,
Sure.
and I don't know if that ultimately is true or not. Academics was what it was. We both did well in school, but it was mostly because George Welsh and the Cavaliers, when I was a freshman in high school, were ranked number one in the country for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden Herman Moore, Sean Moore. Chris Slade, Terry Kirby. He just had this list of names of people that ended up playing in the NFL, and there was a draw there. And that's what ultimately took us to Charlottesville.
Yeah, definitely. To your point, I was a few years older than you. George Welsh was a great coach, and my years at Tech, I went 2-2 against Virginia. My freshman year, you guys, they were number one in the country. We beat them at the end of the year. They had lost a game or two. Great win. Then my two middle years, we lost. My senior year, we won, and that started Beamer. Beamer almost got fired my junior year. Senior year, we won. We went 9-3, and he went to a bowl game. And he went to like 28 straight. So that started the whole Beamer ball thing and stuff. But to your point, yeah, Virginia was the top, one of the top in the country at the time for sure.
Right.
So
It's
and then
funny.
Beamer did his thing.
You were 2-2. I was 1-3.
Yeah,
we lost 3 times to Tech.
yeah,
We're supposed to be better. Come on, man. But it was fun. Great rivalries. A lot of memories from those games, man. Like I could probably regurgitate them all, but because we lost, I've selectively forgotten them.
sure. No, you black them out, right? I don't remember those. But a great time, great rivalry. So then, interesting too. You and I, it's interesting. I look back as I was getting ready for the show here. So 97, you're a rookie. I'm in
Yep.
my fourth year in Tampa Bay. You come into the team, and then we'll cover some of this stuff. But then years later, I came back as a coach. I was on Jon Gruden's staff for 2 years.
Yep.
So I guess I coached you. I didn't coach you. I taught you everything you know, right? Put you in the Hall of Fame. Thanks, Rondé. No, but I was there. Mike Tomlin, Raheem Morris, Herm Edwards were your guys. So I was around all those guys. And then years later, at the end of your career, last year, I was there. Greg Schiano. I was in the sales department. I was the chief partnership officer. So I got to see a lot of your career, and I was proud of you and happy for you. All the amazing again, as a guy that played, to go as long as you did at one place and be able to play all those games in a violent game. That's hats off to you on that. And I mean, how did you do that? What was your secret to staying healthy so long?
Before I go into that, I got to ask you a question. Are you the only person to ever hold player, coach, and like not even front office? That's like on the other side of the building.
Yeah, no, it's funny when I left the Bucks. I told Brian Glazer. He said, "What are we going to do to keep you?" I said, "Well, I want to own part of the team." I said, "I've done everything else. Can I own part of it?" He's like, "Yeah, you can own the bathroom over there." I said, "Nah, okay, I'll be back. I'll be back to own the team someday." But yeah, no, I did a bunch of things and I keep going, right?
Right. Taking the next opportunity, which is really, if you're describing, how I played so long, it's that I took advantage of a lot of opportunities. First off, like you mentioned at the top, started 14 straight years. I didn't miss a game for 15 years in a Bucks uniform, and it would have been 16, but as you know, I didn't play at all my rookie year.
Sure.
I had a red shirt year my first year in the NFL. But I realized from early like age in the NFL that the opportunities come, but they go way really quickly. And so when Anthony Parker, you'll remember Anthony Parker, he was a corner
Yeah.
that started ahead of me in 1998, which was my second year. He got hurt, and I got to play a couple games. And you get that itch, like, oh, I can do this.
Yep.
It's not that much different, and finding success is not that much different than it's always been. But then I put the work in, and Anthony never really saw his job again because what I was doing was as good as Anthony was doing. Obviously, I was cheaper than Anthony. I was a little bit more dynamic than Anthony, but Anthony taught me a lot in a year and a half. And so in my mind, I had that like kind of that path that guy came in. I came in behind a guy. He got hurt. I took his job. He never saw his job again. The same thing, Jim, is funny, happened to me in high school and college. So went
Oh,
to high school as 10th grade was our first year able to play on the varsity team in high school. Well, I went in, I wasn't starting, I wasn't playing. There was a guy, Todd Dowdy, who was starting at safety, who I was behind. Tiki was, of course, starting because he's Tiki, right?
that's right.
Todd Dowdy, about halfway through that 10th grade year, my 10th grade year, he got hurt, and I got a chance to play and went with it, ran with it. Never, that was my
Yep.
opportunity. College, I get there. First year, I get redshirted, which not a lot of people know because I only played 4 years there, but I got redshirted. And then my redshirt freshman year, I took the opportunity and just ran with it, man. It was ACC Player of the Year or Rookie of the Year, first All AC team. I was first year being an All American. And so I kind of had the blueprint of how I wanted to play and succeed in the NFL. And it happened again. Like I got redshirted, basically, got a chance to play, and then took off. And so back in my mind, Jim, I never wanted to not play. Never wanted to have an injury or an excuse or anything that kept me off the field. And so I did whatever it took. And that included playing through stuff I shouldn't have played through. Right?
Right.
My first interception for a touchdown, you can go back and watch this. It was against the Jets. I think it was 99. Vinny Testaverde, and I give him crap about this all the time because he was my first one. But he's trying to throw a little swing pass to Wayne Corbett, kind of step in front of it and score it. And if you go and watch that tape, I'm limping to the end zone because I had a pulled quad that I refused to not play with. There's no way I
Wow.
should have played in that game, right? But I had a pulled quad. I was like, I'm playing. I'm playing. I wrapped it up. Took a tornado shot, whatever it took, and went and played. And that mentality persisted for the next 12 years, 13 years of my NFL career. And I never wanted to not do my job because I would rather not have to watch somebody else do my job and maybe get the opportunity to take it from me. So you can call it scars if you want, but the reality is I was persistent, man. I wasn't going to let anything keep me from going.
Yeah, and that's impressive, though. Like you said, you happened to you 3 times. I have things in my life that's the same thing. Like, hey, you're a very smart guy, too. I played with you. I know you. I've been around you. Sharp guy. Some of the other guys in the league we play with, right, that isn't their strength, right? But you're a very smart guy. So I know you went in, you studied it, you learned, watched what the other guys do, what I got to do, and then you got your opportunity, you went in, and the rest is literally history. Here we are. So, I mean, the other big part, too, which is amazing, again, as an offensive lineman, right, sacks and this and that, you're the all-time interception sack leader, which is great. I know Monty used to draw him up to blitzes and stuff, but bringing the corner or the slot blitz, right, that was one of your specialty. And it's not just a gimmick, too. I know I played against you, too, at other teams in Detroit, Cleveland places. I know we had to watch out for you because you were very crafty, sneaky, you coming off the edge and stuff, that you were a guy that, hey, most of the time as an offensive tackle or lineman, but the DB is going to run from you, but you knew how to even rush to go get the sack, which was very, very impressive. So how did you learn to do that? Where'd that come from, the pass rush ability?
That's funny. Well, I happened to play with, as you played with him too, with one of the greatest sack artists ever, Warren Sapp. And Warren told me something very early in my career, and I never forgot it. He goes, in order to get to there's a direct line to the quarterback wherever he's going to drop to, and when you figure that out on the run when you're blitzing, it's easier from my position than from Warren's. But there's a straight line wherever you're coming from the quarterback to the quarterback. And he's like, however far you get deviated off that line, I forgot how he said it, but this is how I took it. However far you get deviated off that line, the harder it is for you to get sacks. And so in my mind, when I was blitzing, I was always trying to get whoever was trying to block me to deviate. Right. I knew I wanted to be on this line, but I was trying to make this guy go that way so I could get back on my line. And I've never told a lot of people this, but essentially all it is. Like, find a straight line and get people off your straight line. Now, a lot of that means, dinking and dunking and, kind of weaving and trying to get them to move their feet so you can get back to your line. But in the back of my head, I just knew I had a straight line. That's all I wanted to do. Get them off my straight line and get to the quarterback. A lot of times I could do that with speed, but more often than not, it was just feinting, making, head movement, if they did bend me, get right back online and get to the quarterback. So Monty drew up some blitzes, but they weren't complicated.
Sure.
They gave me a chance to beat one guy, and I always said if one guy can block me, then I don't deserve that sack.
That's
So
right.
I was fortunate, man, because he called him all the time. You know that. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
Monty would get pissed, like they'd be moving down. I tell this all the time, but Monty would get pissed because they'd be moving the ball down the field. Maybe they'd get a third down and be like, and you could just see it in the back of his head. Here comes blitz. He's going to blitz the next 3 times. Like the next 3 snaps are going to be blitzes, and so I just sit there waiting for my opportunity to go get one. But we had a good system, man. That it wasn't just me. Obviously I produced a lot out of it, but our system allowed our players to kind of be individuals within the system because it wasn't complicated. They weren't asking us to do 1,000 different things, right? Hey, you got to do this on this play. On this play, you got to do that. On this snap, you got to do that. And if this formation changed, then you're doing it. Well, we weren't like that. We were like, put us in a position where one guy can win, and if one guy wins, the team wins. And that's why we have so many great individual players on our defense during those years. I mean, 4 of them are in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Because it allowed us to shine. We didn't dumb ourselves down by over like stimulating our assignments or anything. They were simple and direct, and let your athlete and athleticism take over and win.
And you bring up that point, and I can remember playing against the Bucs. Obviously, I played with you guys and played against you with different teams, but coming down, that was always the thing. You guys, very talented up front, speed. Sapp was Sapp. He's inside. You had to know where he was. Brooks was fast behind him. Lynch was coming up to knock your head off, and you had you in the corner. The thing is like as an offense, the key to try to move the ball, and you guys would be patient. Take what they give you. But nobody could do it. They're the guy calling the plays like, oh no, hey man, let's take our shot. Let's stand back there an extra second. Here comes Sapp, was someone off the end.
Simeon, right?
And then hey, we could throw it over here. Yeah, these guys are open in cover 2, and the ball's getting tipped, picked off, and the turnover, and we get out of sequence, and that's how you lose the game.
You just triggered something that I know that Monty said every single day, if not every hour of practice and game. Teams are not going to be patient enough to go the length of the field. He said that so many times. And when you're young, it's funny. When you're young, you're like, "What are you talking about? Being patient? Like patient? Like football's not patient." He's like, no, but what he was saying was teams are going to get anxious. They want the big play. They want to try the 7-step drop back and try to beat somebody up. Take what you're given, right?
Right. Take what you give. Move the ball methodically, and then if you can run the ball, run the ball. But to your point, these coordinators who see it from a quarterback lens, just receiver. Hey, line, just block them up, and we got it. We'll get it. This guy's open deep. I used to love that one. Like, you guys, oh, look what we have real deep. I'm like, yeah, look what I got in front of me. Guys running me over, trying to kill me, right? Which is funny. I guess asking too, this is great stuff. I guess you get there your rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think when you walk in the locker room as a rookie? I know you said you redshirted basically.
Right.
You get to the pros. You're there. You're 3rd round pick. Did you? When did you say, "Hey, I can do this. I fit in. I belong"? When did it all click to you?
So the first thing I said when I walked in the building is, "Are you serious? This is our building."
That's right. The old $1
next to the air strip. I mean, we got fumes all day, every day. We didn't need crowd noise like they simulate now. We just waited for the jets to take off. But yeah, outdoor weight room.
Muscle Beach, right? There was no beach. It was at the runway, like you said.
I think the gym in anybody's house right now is bigger than the one we had to work out in. But yeah, the first thing I thought was. This was a talented football team. I knew that. And I knew from the beginning that it was going to be hard to crack into that team because you could feel like the excellence that was there, or at least the attitude, the pursuit of the excellence that was there. Started with Hardy when I was there on my side of the ball. Started with Hardy Nickerson, who was, our unquestioned leader at that time, then passing the buck to Derek and to the degree Warren and John. But Hardy's attitude was so intense that more so than I had ever seen. Play with some really good players in college, but I had never been around a guy that was just full on, this is what we do. This is our livelihood. This is our life. And we're doing 100 miles an hour every single day type of attitude. And so when I first got there, I didn't have that. And if you ask some of the coaches that were around me then, especially Herm Edwards, and Herm told me this to my face early in my years in Tampa. He's like, you got to learn how to be a pro. And I had no idea what he was talking about. Like, be a pro? What do you mean? I'm just here to like try to make the team and try to earn a spot. He's like, no, you do that by learning to be a pro. And being a pro is like doing all the little things, right? Showing up on time, obviously, but doing the extra work, taking the extra reps, finding a way to perfect your craft. And so that redshirt year, actually, call it redshirt year, but that first year actually helped me learn how to do that because I didn't have the pressure of having to play. I don't know how often or how prevalent it is these days to allow young players to do that. Or like I dressed one time. Like I put on a uniform one time that year, but they didn't give up on me, and they let me like develop over the year. And I think it was rare, to be honest with you. I know a lot of guys that I played with were like, "Oh, you're going to get your opportunity. You get your opportunity." I didn't feel like I was going to get my opportunity. So all I was doing was going to practice every week. I practiced so hard that year, and by the end of the year, like I felt myself as a better player, and I kind of started to understand what it meant to be a pro. And then I don't know if you'll remember this, but we made the playoffs that year. We beat Detroit at home. Our second playoff game that year was at Green Bay. And I was treating it like a regular week. I was just going to go practice or whatever. And Herm came up to me like on Monday of that week. He's like, "You're going to be happy this week." And I'm like, "I'm happy every week, Herm. I'm out here getting better." He goes, "No, you're playing." And I was like, "What?" And it wasn't just like getting a jersey to go play special teams. Like I was the starting nickel that game. The second playoff game of the year after having played one game my entire rookie year. And that kind of was it wasn't a launching pad, but that was like me stepping onto the launching pad to what happened the following years. So it was a learning curve, and a lot of young players, everybody's on that learning curve. It's just a matter how fast you climb up that curve. Mine was pretty steep, and then I took off pretty fast after I got my opportunity. But it's all because of what I did my first year.
Yeah, it's great until you bring up some names. I mean, Hardy Nickerson, to your point, I played 4 years in Tampa with Hardy, and he was, I always say, he was the guy. I mean, he came in there. I mean, I literally head to head. I mean, smashing you every day. He was downhill every play. And listen, Brooks is a Hall of Famer, had a great career, but I'll tell you right here, I'll take Derek Brooks all day long to go up and block him versus Hardy Nickerson. Hardy would come down and he would knock your head off. Brooks, he wanted to run around you. And he was a great player, but man, Hardy Nickerson, he brought it, and he just wanted to. He was a man. So
yeah, he's one of my favorite teammates. I remember when I retired, and he probably didn't know because he left here in '99 or 2000, I think 2000, and so I played 12 more years without Hardy. But when I retired, the first name that I brought up in my retirement speech was Hardy Nickerson. Like it was the standard that he set. Like he was the standard. Like it's funny because now the Bucs have "I am that man" motto, and it's based off of Levante David. So I'm sure any young player that's coming through now is saying, "Man, that guy did it the right way. His attitude, how he approached leadership, is Levante." But for me, like everybody's like, "Oh, it's Derek." It's like it is Derek, but the person who it was before Derek was Hardy Nickerson for 3 years. Right. And you're just like, this dude is what football is all about. So I respect the hell out of him.
He started in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. I guess so. Bring it up too. Let's talk. Tony Dungy was the head coach. Tell me about Tony. What made him special? I got my opinion. I know he was a great guy, but what did you think?
Yeah, Tony's it's funny you say this because I don't know that Tony believed in me at first. Not that he would ever give up on somebody, but I hadn't earned that right yet. But he was so patient with me, and so you got a chance to be good, like without like blowing up my head and telling me, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be like you got a chance to be good, but you got to work at it." And it was like how your father would talk. Would you want your father to talk to you? And I know a lot of people describe him as a father figure and somebody you don't want to disappoint. He's not like a coach. He's not like a coach that's a rah-rah coach and is in your face or whatever. It's like he gave you this look that let you know that there was a better part of you that he saw, without like yelling at you to be that guy. And I give him a lot of credit for it. He was patient with me. And then when I finally started to reward him as a head coach, reward him with some play, and then he, that's when I felt like Tony was my guy then. But he didn't ever disappoint in the way that he led. The most humble human being I've ever met in my life. And I think that worked well for me because of what I said at the beginning of the show. I approach things with a lot of humility, and like, you have to earn it. And Tony was perfect for me in that regard, because he let me take my time to get to where I wanted to be. He saw something, but he wasn't going to push it when I wasn't ready. And then just how he dealt with everything with grace. I mean, that man is unbelievable. There's nothing that I can say bad about him, other than that I hate that he won a Super Bowl with another team, because I would have loved to have won one with the team that he built and the men that he cultivated into being a championship, franchise. But yeah, he was amazing, man. And I'll say it to this day, the greatest man that I've ever been around in terms of sport, life, his faith, his family. You feel in awe and truly like below a different level when you're around him, because of how just gracious he is.
Yeah, to your point, I had the opportunity to play for him too, and he's great. I was here the first year he got here. I always told, one story I have is we were 0-8 his first year, right? And then we won like 5 of the 6 last games. The next year we started off 5-0, and the biggest thing I'd say about Coach Dungy, he was the same guy. There was no highs and lows with him, man. He was just calm. You knew the plan. He believed in it. And what I heard you talking about him, he had belief in you. He believed in you, right? So when a coach and a man believes in someone, I think that's everything. That's all we're looking for, is someone to believe. And then he saw in you the opportunity. You're a similar guy, great guy, great, steady guy. That's the thing. So he is a special guy, and it's amazing to hear all that stuff.
You've been around plenty of coaches that ride that emotional, probably people that you work with too, that ride the emotional roller coaster. This guy.
The up and down, the up and down. People can't handle the ups and downs. There's so much up and down with them. The consistency and having a vision, where you're going, and beliefs, like you said, whether it be religious and all this stuff. You're on a path, and just to staying calm in the pocket, believing in what you're doing. So let's going from Coach Dungy, which again we were both around. Then Coach Gruden, you got, and I agree with you. Coach Dungy deserved a Super Bowl in Tampa, but I'm glad he got one in Indianapolis. So right. Coach Gruden comes in, Jon Gruden comes in, I worked for Coach a couple of years after the Super Bowl, but he takes the team to the Super Bowl. Famous play, I remember you. I wasn't playing with you guys. When you won the NFC Championship, you did interception, you pointed at the name in the bag. That was awesome, man. I mean, tell me about all that. Tell me, go ahead.
Yeah, Gruden came in and demanded a different standard, totally different leadership style, completely different. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it galvanized us, but it was different. I think that team, that 2002 team, I mean, after having been to the NFC Championship in '99, probably should have been to a Super Bowl that year, and then not getting there 2 years in a row in 2000, or actually 3 years in a row, 2000, 2001, and then 2002 getting another chance. I think anybody that was coaching us that year was going to see a team that was going to be championship worthy. It happened to be Jon Gruden, and it was the guy that our ownership wanted. There was a lot of reasons to love the guy, just because of that fiery energy and that raising that level of expectation on both sides of the ball. I think that did a lot for us as a team. I mean, we can say we won on defense that year. We did. I think we had 31 interceptions or something that year. We had 9 defensive touchdowns in total that year. Like, we did a lot on defense. Number one across the board, I think, on just about anything. One of the greatest defenses ever to play. But importantly, the offense produced that year. I think Brad Johnson was the leading passer in the NFC that year. You had a bunch of other, stalwarts like that Bucs fans know is like key components to a Super Bowl win. Mike Allstott, Jervicius, Michael Pittman. Like there's so many guys whose careers were like career years that year on the other side of the ball, and I think that is what the difference was. What ultimately got us the Super Bowl. And John cultivated that. He had the same expectations on offense that we then had on defense, and I think that made us that team that year. But John's great, man. I remember not having to deal with him often, which is probably a good thing. It was like it was the division of church and state in our locker room. It was you were either on offense or you were on defense, and you had a head coach on offense with John, a head coach on defense. It was Monty, and like we didn't really interact unless we were competing in practice. But the one time that we did every single week was his night before the game team talk, and then the day of game, rah speech, whatever. And I remember wanting to like run through a wall every single time I heard one. Like,
right.
The guy is a master like motivator. His energy is real. I mean, I still do stuff with John now. I'm around him a lot here in Tampa, and that energy is the same. Like it hasn't changed. It's not phony. It's like it's real energy, man. And I think that spell of that juice, if you will, is what he called it, right? Juice.
Yeah, juice. Yeah.
Dude, it lifted everybody, and it still does. That's just who he is as a player. And I know he did TV for a long time and doing all this Barstool Gruden stuff. But I encourage people to like believe that like that's not fake. Like he's not turning it on for that. It's just how he is all the time. And I think that resonated with our team when the year we won.
Definitely, and I can attest to that too. Having worked for him for 2 years, he was the way he was, a maniac. He was, intense offensive coach, great. And today, he helps my son as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. He came to practice. He loves football. He's intense about offensive football and all football, and he cares about it. He came from a football family. Like his dad, his brother were big in football, and so he. But you're too right. It's not fake. It's who he is. He lives and breathes it. I live near him. Actually, see him a bunch. So he's a great guy, and I'm happy he's doing well at Barstool. But hopefully, I think there's something more he might want to do, take another run at something. But we'll see what happens. But great guy.
He's getting to that age where he's like, he better make a decision when he's
right.
Take a run on. Oh, he's great. I love being around that guy, and he's a golfer. Right. Oh, it's even better.
Yeah, he's a golfer. Yeah, we have to well play sometime. But so talking to that staff, because I was part of that staff there. You had Raheem and you had Mike Tomlin, of course. Mike, legendary head coach, went on from Tampa. Went up to Minnesota. They went to the Steelers and a great run. And then now he's going to do TV, which is great. He's a great orator too, can talk and has all the. I used to love sitting because my office, I don't know if you remember, was in that hallway there at the old palatial one back. It was a hallway. We had mice and rats going through it, but I used to sit in the back of the defense room. I could hear Mike talk and Raheem, and I was like, these guys are good talkers, good speeches, and they know football and they know that they're going places. And what did you see and feel? And did you know? First, we'll start with Mike Tomlin, then we'll go to Raheem. When did you know Mike was headed for good things?
Yeah, Mike was special, man. Mike. I remember this. This is a great story. So the first week that Mike gets hired, after we get to see him, it's like OTAs or whatever, and we're doing some work, and we get on the field. This is back when they let you actually get on the field in off season and like
right.
Unlike now where it's like y'all can do it later. We get on the field and he sets up these drills, and you're like, what the hell is he doing? It's like backpedaling drills and all these movement drills, and we're just like at the time we were like, why are we doing these like elementary level drills, right? Like pedaling down this red line on the field and like all this movement drill. And I remember John Lynch came up to me and he goes, hey, we got to say something to Mike. Like, why are we doing this stuff? We don't need to do this stuff. And I was like, hey, John, you're 4 years older than me. You go right ahead. And he never did, right? But then once the camp came around, because we've been doing these drills for so long, you realize there was a method to his madness, really. He was giving us like technique and little nuances to the position, perfecting them without us really thinking that we were perfecting them. We're just doing drills, right? And so he ended up calling them EDDs, everyday drills, and we would do them every single day. And when you're been in the league for a couple of years, you're like, we don't do that in the NFL. But you know what? We did them in the NFL, and we got
right.
better doing it. Like all of our movements and all of our techniques got much more clarified and specific after doing these drills. And all of a sudden, we're like, all right, go out to practice. Let's do our EDDs, right? And so that's how Mike was. Mike is very calculated, very specific with how he's trying to train up his whoever he's in charge of. And so for us, that year was 2001 was the first year he came in. I was a nice player at that point. You know, I'd had some success, made a lot of splash plays, if you will. Well, he came in and challenged all of us, but he challenged me specifically. And he's like, nobody does what you do in terms of playing outside, playing inside. The impact you have on the game, it's unprecedented. I mean, he's telling me this to my face. It's unprecedented. Sure. People don't realize how good of a player you are. And he goes, it's our job to make them understand. Like, it's our job to force our collective will, his and I's, specifically mine when I'm playing, force our will on the people we're playing against. And we're going to do that this year. Well, that year was my first All-Pro year, led the league in interceptions. It was unquestioned how good of a player I was, which, you know, 2 years before that, nobody would have even said that guy should have been on a roster, right? Like, oh, who's Rondé Barber? Like, he's got a famous twin brother that plays running back in Tampa or in New York, right? Who's this other guy in Tampa? Well, after that year, everybody knew, and it was because of all the specific things that he was doing to make me the best version of myself, and I always gave him credit for it. I got into the Hall of Fame 23. And they don't usually do this, and now they don't let you do this. They want Hall of Famers to put gold jackets on the incoming class of Hall of Famers. I had Mike Tomlin put my jacket on me for a reason. Like, he is
Sure.
the reason that I'm a Hall of Famer, and I don't mince words when I say it. I don't try to give credit to anybody else. Yes, I had a lot of the people that helped me along the way, but specifically, the guy that put me on my path was Mike Tomlin, and. I'll give him all the credit, and I love him to death. We're still friends. I'm visiting with them this week, and up north. And I can't when I get around him, I get in his presence. There's a different aura, and it's been that way since the first time I met him. So when he then ultimately left Tampa and went to Minnesota for that 1 year, and then Pittsburgh, I had no doubt in my mind he was going to succeed. He is. Sure. He might be the best, and I know they use this term a lot in soccer in Europe, but he might be the best manager type of coach I've ever been around. Like, he can look any one person in the eye and tell them exactly what they need to do. And right. You don't believe him, you're probably not going to be on his team long because you're probably failing yourself. That's how I think about Mike. He's special, man. He's just different. There's a reason why he always succeeds.
No, you're right. In my interaction with him, William & Mary guy, right? Wide receiver, very smart guy, highly educated. Right. I always came away with him. I didn't play the position for him or anything, but his orator, he's a great orator, could dial something up quickly, speak, talk, get the message across. He'll be great at TV he'd be great at anything he wants to do, but TV is going to be great because he's going to be funny, entertaining. He can really put it together and talk, and just a great guy. No, I'm not surprised by his success at all, and it was fun to see. So, and then moving on, I guess you got Raheem. Then Raheem was kind of his assistant, and Raheem, I know you guys were close. And I remember, so I was coaching with the Bucks up in the box, and Raheem be up there. He's high energy. He's he's smooth too. He can talk. I remember he said, Rondé, run the route for him, Rondé, run the route. We were like coaching up in the box. Gruden's yelling at us. We're like, what do you see, Pyne? What's the play? Do you like this? I love it, right? And Raheem's over there. Run the route for him, Rondé. He's screaming. Yeah, it was great. So I knew there was a great connection there. You'd be running routes to picking the ball off and stuff. Right. But he was a young guy, young, hungry guy who got an opportunity, a couple head coaching jobs. He's done well, and he's now with DC and San Fran. So he's got a bright future still, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, go ahead. He's got that you said it already. He's got genuine energy. You said it, young and hungry. Remember when he was a head coach? He was like, "We're going to be young and hungry. We're youngry." Like, who makes up that word? Like, right?
He gets away with it, right?
Word, right? Youngry. Okay, raw, right? Hofstra educated from Newark, New Jersey. I guess you're allowed to make up a word named youngry.
Yeah, that's right.
And yes, he is one of my great friends. Ironically, the probably the worst, not the worst, but like one of the most befuddling things about my career was the year that he left. So he left Tampa before he became head coach, and probably people don't remember this, but he left the same
Kansas State
year.
is.
The same year that Mike went to go be the DC in Minnesota, Raheem, who was probably in line to take his job, I presume, decides to go be the defensive coordinator at Kansas State for a year. And so, like, for me, that was like this nebulous year of, like, who the hell is this DB coach that we brought in some dude from USC? He was not good at all. Like, had no idea what was going on. No disrespect to him if he ever hears this or listens to him. He just didn't resonate with our room. He didn't have the same standard that those two guys had. But then the next year, Raheem came back. Monty brought him back, and then 2 years later, he ended up taking John's job as our head coach. But what Raheem brings to the table is that passion and energy, and he's 48. No. 48 or 49 years old now, and you could mistake him for being a 25-year-old first-year head coach, or first-time head coach, or first-time NFL coach. He just has that kind of like spryness, if you will, like that youthful exuberance, and his ability to relate to players is unlike anything I've ever seen. Now, sometimes that's not good, right? If you're a head coach and you have too close of a connection to guys that you shouldn't, but how players respect him because of how he's able to communicate with them is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I'm sure there's other guys like that around the league, but in my experience, he's one of one. Just the way that he approaches how he deals with players is pretty special. And I think that's why he continues to get jobs. Because people that are around him know what he brings to the table. He's smart. He has a genuine appreciation for the guys that he's coaching. Even if he knows they're not the guys, he's still going to try to make them the guy. And then his ability to relate. He's like a coach that could have coached in any generation. And I think that speaks a lot to him. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. Again, coached with him, and a young coach. He was a quality control back in the day, and to your point, we'd be out working, grinding all day, and then people go out, and the next day I'm like exhausted. He'd be up, full energy. I'm like, man, what did you sleep? What did you do?
No.
It just no, he didn't. It just doesn't stop.
By himself, he's dispelling the myth that you need 8 hours of sleep.
No question.
All you got to do is look at him. It's a lie.
Yep. No question. Now because we're running down here, so don't want to take too much time. But the Warren Sapp, you mentioned Sapp earlier. Of course, I came in. I was a year older than Sapp, so I played against him literally every day in practice. I saw his development become what he became. Right? I mean, tell me a story about Warren Sapp or something about Sapp. You told us one about the straight line, which is great.
Yeah.
What's what are you thinking when I say Warren Sapp?
Well, I think Warren. Literally the most talented. He was so talented that I don't think he ever had. I mean, he worked. I'm not saying he didn't work, but he was so talented that like his work ethic was just natural. Like he was one of these guys that you put him on a bench and he would throw up 315 pounds. And then you were like, when did you ever train to be able to throw up 350? But you never saw him do it. Like, he was just like, oh, I can do that. Put him in a 5 technique. You gotta go rush against a tackle instead of a guard that beat him. Like, dude, did you ever work on that? Like, he's just so naturally gifted. Obviously, if you know his path, like, but I didn't know this till obviously I got to know him a little bit. Like, he went to college as a tight end or something. Like he was a much smaller guy. And I remember when I first met him, he has these huge calves. He's, lower body that looks like a really stout, like, athlete. And then he's got the big belly and he's bigger on top. But you look at him, you're like, if that dude lost 80 pounds, he could probably play safety in the league type of thing. He's that kind of athlete. And so to me, I was always in awe of Warren, still kind of in awe of Warren. He's just a unique character. But all that athleticism aside, he's one of those guys that you had to make love you. And I say that because this is the story. When I was young in the NFL and wasn't making any plays, he could care less about me. He probably knew my name, but he knew it as like an off shot, like, yeah, who's that? Who's Rondé guy? Whatever. But I remember when I started making plays, right? Like I got my chance to play, started making tackles, sacks, interceptions, whatever, tackles for loss. And when Warren starts talking about how good you're playing, you know you've made him love you. And so it's probably like my third or fourth year, maybe third year, when every time I made a play, you hear Warren yelling in the back of the room, "I told you about Randy. I told you about it." You know, I'm like, I think Warren loves me now. I'm good. You know,
Absolutely.
He has such a like an expectation for greatness. Like he couldn't deal with guys that weren't always going to be their best self. And like he could see my development, and then he started to love me, and he's like, "Oh, this guy, he's better than you think he is." Like yelling across to everybody, and it's pretty awesome when you have that kind of backing by your teammate. Now he could also be very abrasive, as you know.
Yeah, sure.
But for the guys that they're in his circle, and the guys that love him, dude, he's the best dude in the world. He's so fun to play with. And you knew what he was bringing every single week, which made it even better.
I remember my many stories with him. I went against him a bunch. I remember playing with him was great. He'd go out for warm-ups, and he'd be skipping through the other team's warm-up, right? We playing the Vikings. I remember that. Like, and, John Randall's over there. These different guys. I got to block John Randall. Sapp's over there skipping through, getting him fired up. I'm like, Sapp, calm down, man. I don't want that guy fired up any more than he needs to be. But that was his he had the swagger, right? That's what he did, and we all fed off it too. It was great, and he became great too, and so it was funny.
Make Warren love you. That's all I remember. And then it's funny because we used to say that about him, but then later in my career, there was guys on the team that would always say the same about me, and I know I got it from Warren. I was like, I'm not paying attention to that dude unless he's like showing me that he can be, the best version of himself. And so like at the end of my career, they said the same thing about me.
Yeah, that's good. You're a study. Right. So I guess it's flipping too. Last thing, so another great thing about you, our connection too, and we're gonna do this again sometime, is your daughter, my daughter played lacrosse. Yeah. You were a coach. That's another time I got to see you. So I played with you, coached on the staff with you. So then I was on the business side. Then another version was both our daughters played lacrosse together. Your daughter went to William & Mary, did a great job. She's now in New York City. My daughter went to Holy Cross. She's now in New York City too, working. So small world stuff. And you came when my daughter signed with her scholarship to Holy Cross. You came, and I was very thankful for that. But I guess it's amazing. So you're a great guy, great dad, great husband, and then really a lot to be commended for that. And a Hall of Fame guy on the field and off, which is great.
The no matter what you've done professionally, if it's not reflected in your kids, then you're not doing things right. And I hope that it's reflected in both of my kids. I like when I hear other people compliment my kids for how good they living their life or how they treat people or what they're accomplishing. It makes you feel like you've done something correct. And I know you feel the same way. And the reason I went to your daughter's signing was because first of all, I respect you, but secondly, because she's younger than my daughter, I respected her. I respected the way that she represented herself, playing with older girls when she was younger, but holding her own, and like you get this sense, like what I was saying earlier, make somebody love you. Like it was easy for me to love Sophia because of the way that she went about her job and went about the way getting prepared and seeing it rewarded with a scholarship to Holy Cross. You're like, man, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And it's nice to have support from the people that she's been around for a lot of her life. So of course I was going to be there for her. And you mentioned I forgot that she was going to New York. There's no way we can't have them hook up now. That's
that's right. Yeah, they're up.
We should go up and have like a dinner and then leave them to their devices, and we go to our devices in New York City.
Let's do it. I love it. You got it. We'll do it sometime. That'll be great. Really appreciate the time, Rondé, and we'll do it again.